Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yep. I will just introduce you real quick. Thank you for everyone who is joining our call in person and come on time. You guys are the ones that are rocking it, so definitely appreciate you. We have a very special superstar diamond with us tonight, Tarah Carr. I'm sure most of you guys know Tarah, but I'm sure she'll tell you her story nonetheless if you don't. But, you know, I always hear lots of excuses about, oh, I live out in the middle of nowhere. You don't know, like, I don't have anybody in my town, or I don't have very many friends, you know. Wait till you hear where she built her business. So it's you know, definitely an honor to have Tarah. She is in the Millionaires Club. She is a 3-time elite coach. She's I think she has over 40 diamond coaches that she's personally sponsored. And I'm sure I'm missing a few other things, but I will let you take it away, Tarah.
Sure. Thank you.
Yep.
So yeah, it's funny where I kind of started, like any of us, most of us, when I talk to people that are coaching full time as my friends, it was nothing we like jumped all in where we were like, yeah, I planned it for 6 months before I joined. I had a business plan, like everything was ready to go. Completely the opposite. I was in Okinawa, Japan. I'm a former military wife. I'm sure you can see I'm in my husband's office, but it's decked out in pro-military gear. But it's mainly because mine's not clean, so I steal his anytime I have to do something. So, but I started over there because I had simply been a customer of Beachbodies for about a year. I was actually a free customer of Wayne Wyatt's. Fun little fact that most people don't know. But I had never heard back from Wayne. I would message him a couple times. I would message Anita. Back then, I would like ask if they would work out with me in the Wowie gym, and no one ever worked out with me, which is laughable now because I don't ever know what's going on back there myself. So yeah, I just, you know, I decided one day I was going to submit my results for a free t-shirt. And I said to my husband, he was in the Philippines, and I said, you know, they want my before and after. And I never put like the before. I know what you guys know what I'm talking about, like the before, where you're like, no one will ever see this one. I'll share some other ones, but not this one. Like this one is for like my spouse only. So I said to Adam, you know, do you think that will ever go public? Like I would be mortified if people ever saw that. And you have to know my husband, he's like, oh babe, get over yourself. They have thousands of people submitting. Like they're not, like no one's going to see it. You're fine. If you want the shirt, just do it. And I'm like, okay. So I submitted it, and the next morning in Japan, it was about 3:30 my time, because you have to remember the time difference, my Facebook was blowing up, which doesn't happen. I had a whole 100 friends back then. So I'm like, first instinct as a military wife, I thought bad, something bad happened. And it was bad, but not that bad. But it was me plastered on the main Beachbody website of my before and after saying that I was a finalist for the Beachbody Challenge contest. And I about had a heart attack. And so my husband was like, well, you got your free shirt. So, I mean, maybe you want a trip to California now. So they kind of like put me out there. I don't know if I would have ever put that before and after photo out there if it wasn't for them blasting it for me, but I was really grateful nonetheless. And that was that first moment where I really got out of my comfort zone. And I'm like, well, it's out there. I'm going to become a coach. I might as well. I've been helping people for a year, buying TurboFire from the website. I didn't even know coaches really existed. I thought you had to have like a degree or something to do it. Because I mean, let's be honest, look at Wayne Wyatt's like before and after, like that man's machine. So I thought you had to be, you know, a professional to do this. And I was no professional. I was a stay-at-home mom. But I jumped in all the way. And I actually ended up switching on my third day as becoming a coach to a girl named Lauren Knight because I couldn't get a hold of Wayne. And I just wanted someone to talk to me. I was like, I need to know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. And Lauren Knight, I found her on YouTube, and she said, I'll talk to you on Skype. I'll stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning. Shoot, girl, what do you want to do? When do you want to talk? And so that was kind of how it kicked off for me. And I went diamond in 21 days. I built 7 diamonds in about 4 months, but I did it all on one side because I had no idea what I was doing. I was literally just so excited about the company. I was excited about the programs. I was excited about having something on an island that was an hour long and an hour wide where wives were getting together and we were working out and we were improving our marriages. And we just had this thing, like outsiders called it a cult. It wasn't anything negative, right? But it was like this thing of like happy, positive people where I loved talking about Dave Ramsey. I loved talking about things I was passionate about. And that was how my business kind of blossomed. So of course I have failed more times than I can count along the way in my business. And I would have it no other way. Honestly, if I could go back, you know, when you're a new coach, sometimes we get really frustrated if we got so close to almost hitting Success Club, but we didn't make it because we had a return and we didn't catch it, right? Or the person who said that they were going to order on the 31st at 11 o'clock at night, they didn't go through with it. And now you're like trying to think of people from kindergarten that you went to school with that maybe you could reach out to talk to because you're like, I have to lock this in right now. But that's business. Like it doesn't always go as planned. And so that was one thing that I had to learn along the way, is that there were always going to be hiccups. And my first year of coaching, I was technically number 2 in the company to run for top 10, but I didn't even know what that meant. And so I missed it because I wasn't a 2-star. And you had to be, and I found out the last week of the year that, hey, you know, if you would have been 2-star, you would have locked this in. And to be honest, that was the only reason why I made that a goal for that following year to get top 10, was because I failed the first time. In my mind, I was like, wow, I was so close. And Danielle and Tony was too. And so we made that a goal to run together. So my tip number 1 for you is, if you don't have someone running with you, link up with someone who is like-minded. Find someone in your team page, but don't go by stats. I hate when people message me and they're like, I'm a diamond, I hit Success Club, but I need a Success Club partner. And I'm like, okay, I need to know way more about you. I need to know, what are your fun hobbies? What is your personality type? You know, what drives you? Like, are you married? Do you have kids? Do you have a full-time job? Like, I need specifics on who you are, because that's depending upon who I'm going to pair you up with. And when you're looking for a success partner, don't just assume you have to pick someone who's exactly like you. Danielle and I, the only thing we had in common is we were both fun sapphires. That was it. You know, we're both kind of goal oriented, but Danielle loves working out. I despise it. Still to this day, I despise working out, but I do it because I know that it makes me better. I know that it makes me healthy. Danielle, she has a panic attack, like if she didn't get her workout in for the day. And I'm like, girl, we could not be BFFs. We can be success partners, but we can't be best friends, because I'm cool if I miss a workout. So you have to find someone that's also going to, you know, be the strengths that you're not. So Danielle was by trade very organized. She was a teacher. And so that worked really well for me because I have major ADHD and I'm all over the place. Like my team, they joke and they say that I have squirrel syndrome, but that's just who I am. And I couldn't change that about me, but I could find the strengths that I had and I could make them better. So I don't want you focusing on in this business, well, I'm not this and I'm not that, and I follow this tap coach and I don't have that. You have to focus on what you do have. What are the good qualities and traits that you can shine in your business, you know, and show to other people. But most importantly, over the last 5 years in this business is putting skin in the game. And for some people, that term means different things than others. It was actually Warren Buffett who created the term, and he used it back in the day for people investing their own money. You know, he would say, do they have skin in the game? Are they putting their own money in? And I think of it in a different way. I think of skin in the game is when someone tells me on my team, you know, I really want this, I really want to do this, but they don't show up every day. Or they're well rested. They're getting 9 to 10 hours of sleep, and some nights I'm running on 4. Or they're not waking up early in the morning because they're just not simply a morning person. Me either. 3 cups of coffee, I'm a morning person. My alarm goes off, I throw that back, now I'm a morning person. But it's the person who's not willing to do what it takes, and that's making sacrifices in their life. And so I didn't always have skin in the game when I first became a coach, honestly. The stats that they'll share about me and they'll say, you know, she's never missed a month of Success Club, that was pure accident for the first 6 months of my business, truthfully. I would own it if I set it as a goal and I was just so relentless that I wouldn't give up and not achieving it, but it was an accident. It was because I had been a customer for a year and people had already trusted me about Beachbody because they knew I loved Shakeology and TurboFire. And so when I said, hey, I'm a coach now, I know it's kind of laughable, guys, but I'm a coach and you can buy through me. I had already had those relationships of people who said, I would love to support you. I would love to join you. I'd love to sign up with you. But eventually those leads run dry. So if you're in a similar situation as me and you think, well, I already have a circle of friends that trust me really well, eventually those people, it runs dry and you've got to go to a cold market and you've got to find people who don't know you. And the way that you do that is by, first of all, authentically being yourself on social media. But you can't try to master them all. You have to pick two. That's it, two. If you're trying to post on Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and you are all over the place and you're not consistent with it, which I don't know anyone who has mastered being consistent at it as a brand new coach yet, you're going to fail because someone's going to go to your YouTube channel and they're going to be like, oh, she hasn't posted in 6 months. I bet you she's not doing it anymore. And they're going to go find someone else. Or they're going to go to your Instagram and they're going to say, oh, he hasn't been here for 2 weeks. I wonder if he doesn't really take this serious. But if you focus on 2 platforms where you can double dip on those platforms and you can say, for me, it was Facebook and YouTube, because back then Facebook Live it didn't exist. So I would make at least a video once every 3 days and I would just upload it on YouTube. I had to get over myself. I had to get out of my comfort zone. I hated being on video at first. I hated talking. This is me every day. I'm not one of those top coaches that has like eyebrows on fleek and I'm like always top notch and wear like awesome clothes. I still shop at Target and Kohl's. Like that is just who I am. And I can't change that. So I had to realize that I'm just going to come as I am. And the people who like me for me, they're going to join me for me. Because if I'm trying to pretend to be someone I'm not, I'm going to attract people that drive me up a wall that I don't want to coach anyway. So you have to just consistently be yourself in this business. You do not lose sight of that. But when you're on video, because you have to do video, in my opinion, you have to do video. You just get over yourself. So if you're like, but I hate the way that I sound, or I hate the way that I look, or I don't like to get dolled up every day, who cares? Just come like that. If you're a guy and you're like, okay, but drinking beer for me would make me feel more relaxed to go on YouTube, pop a beer and drink it and talk to your people, because they're going to relate to you. Like my husband, anytime I have to ask him to do, a couples video with me or Facebook Live, he's like, I got to go grab a beer real quick. I'm like, cool. Like we don't lie, like say he doesn't drink. He's just who he is, right? Sometimes he drops the F-bomb on Facebook Live and I'm like, babe, please, like, not on my page. You can do it on your page, right? You're the operator. Everybody knows you do that, but it's just who he is. And no one looks at him and, throws hate at him and says, I can't believe you did that. Or my kid was in the room. They just know better. If they're following an adult, that's what they're going to get, especially someone like him. But you have to show up. You have to show up consistently. And so if that's Facebook for you, and that's at least making a post every single day, that post, you have to ask yourself, am I making this post with intention? Because I see a lot of coaches come to me and they'll say, I've been consistent for 2 years. I post on social media. I do my workout. I drink my Shakeology. Nothing. I have no traction. I don't understand. No one's asking me for help. And I'll say, let me go take a peek at your page. And I'll know within seconds. The problem is that they're not being intentional. They assume that people who are following them say, oh, she's really consistent. She wants me to join her team. When instead they think in their mind, oh, good for her. She works out every single day. I wish I had the dedication to be more like her. Or she drinks this Shakeology every day. She must really love that shake. I wish I liked shakes. So in their mind, they're not thinking she wants me to join her team. They're just thinking, I wish I could be more like that. So you have to be intentional about your post. You always have to have a call to action. What is it that you're wanting someone to think about when they read your post or they watch your video? You have to tell them what you want them to feel. And you have to say that by asking questions. And so you'll notice even by me talking to you on this call, I'm not saying you guys. I'm not trying to talk to 15 of you. I hope by the end of this night, one of you will say, I feel like she was talking directly to me because I was there, or I've done that, or I get it. You're talking to one person every day that you show up on your social media. It doesn't matter if you have 18,000 followers or you have 100. You're talking to one person every single day. And so when you come on there, let's say you go on a Facebook Live tomorrow and you want the takeaway as a mom, for example, because I'm a mom of 3. So for me, that's easy to talk about. You want them to walk away from your video and feel like, me too. Me too. When I had my son or my daughter, I looked in the mirror and I at first hated myself. I hated the stretch marks. I was hard on myself. I would look at other moms and think, what is my excuse? Like, why can't I get this done? When instead I had to learn to love myself. I had to learn to love where I am. I had to learn to love that I brought a human into this world. And I had to learn to love that I'm okay to start as I am as a coach. And so when you ask them those questions, have you ever felt like that? Have you ever had a child and felt like that? they're going to answer in their head, if they have, yes, when they're watching your video. And at the end, you say, I want you to reach out to me if you've ever felt like this. I want you to private message me. You're not asking them to join a challenge group. You're saying, message me. I want you to talk to me about it. I would love to talk to you about this because this is something that I've overcome. It may have taken me a couple years, but I feel like there are some things that I can help you with if you're still struggling with that mindset right now. And so when someone watches that video and they reach out and they say, I just got off of your video and I'm in tears because that's how I feel right now. I have a 7-month-old and I can't seem to love myself. I want to love myself, but what did you do to get over that? I'll hop on the phone with someone for 10, 15 minutes. And because I have connected and formed that quick relationship, we're not talking about coaching. We're not talking about anything Beachbody. I'm offering them a service for free and giving them something of value. I'm coaching. That's what I love to do for a living. I love to coach people. And that's not just specifically to a challenge group or Shakeology. But that person who I hopped on the phone with maybe, or maybe I sent them back, a message of some takeaways on what they could do to change that or work on that, they are going to consistently follow me if my advice helped them. And when I have another video and I'm talking about financial things, they're going to say, she helped me with that. I just got off the phone with a girl that I signed as a coach who told me that she's been following me for 1.5 years. She's never private messaged me. She's never wrote me. And she has paid off $99,000 of debt because she hopped on one of my videos where I talked to her about Dave Ramsey and how to snowball and how to put a plan in place and why it was important for them to do it for their financial means for their family. That was it. And then she sent me a message and was like, I want to join you as a coach. I just saw your latest call to action that you're looking for people to join your team and you've already helped me so much without you even realizing it. And there's no one else that I would want to join but you. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to convince her that our team was worth it or any of that. She's just followed me for so long and she knew that that's what she wanted to do. And so you have to think to yourself when you're showing up every day on social media with intention, with purpose, what am I sharing of myself that I'm good at? What strengths do I have outside of Beachbody? Because anybody can sign up today to become a Beachbody coach. It's easy. They have a social security number or they have a whatever they call it in Canada. What is that, EIN? No, that's business. I don't even know what it is. It's something in Canada. But you sign up, right? You sign up. Anybody can do that. But what is going to separate you from everyone else signing up? And it's what you have to offer. What do you have to offer? Can you talk about if you have a really good organizing system with your pantry? Can you talk about, as a guy, you listening to personal development on your commute to your full-time job right now? Maybe you're a police officer and you talk about how, personal development helps you get through some of the stuff that you see in your day-to-day life. Like whatever it is, you talk about it. Maybe you make your own cleaning supplies at home. And so you want to talk to people about getting the chemicals out of their house and why these alternatives are better for them. You have to add a lot of things every single day for free of value to people. Because then when it comes time to coach, they're going to trust you, that you're going to lead them, that you're going to mentor them because you've already been doing that with them through life. And that's honestly all I've done the last 5 years. Nothing in my business has changed aside from me getting a little bit more organized, which is not typically a trait that I've carried in my life. So for me now to have systems of certain things of how I get a coach started, or why I pop diamonds in 7 days now, it's not that I've made things easier. It's not that I've given them some sort of loophole secret to Beachbody. It's that I've found out how to help people with life better. And when you can do that, when you can help people figure out their life, Beachbody just becomes so much easier. But you have to have that skin in the game every single day. You have to know what it is that you're fighting for. I know you hear us coaches talk about all the time, what is your why? What is your why? I think I said in 2011, I realized that if my why didn't make me cry, that it wasn't strong enough. So for me, my why that got me serious in business was realizing that Adam could not come home. He was invincible for so long until we lost teammates on his team. And then all of a sudden he wasn't bulletproof anymore to me because we lost people that we loved. And that was my fight or flight. I was like, I am not going to sleep every single day just so when he's ready to tell me I'm done, we will have a means financially to be okay. And he wasn't ready to say that for a long time. But when that moment happened, when we lost a team member and he called me and said, I'm done. I want out. I'm done. We were okay. We were fine. I was able to say, come home. After this Afghanistan, just come home. We're done. And he was the first person in the Army to actually get out early dishonorably. It was a form that you could fill out if you could prove to the military that you had the financial means to be able to get out. And they approved us. And then shortly after, they stopped that program. But we ended his contract way earlier than we were even supposed to, because we could prove to them that we were able to do that. We would be fine. But we would have not been able to do that had I just allowed myself to stay comfortable. To say, you know what, the military pays for our housing every month. They, pay for us to have COLA overseas. We have health insurance. We're fine. We'll be okay. We'll survive, it's all right. But I didn't want to survive anymore. I wanted to thrive. I wanted to be able to wake up every single day and see my husband instead of being separated 10 months out of every single year. I loved and supported his career to no end, but I wanted my husband, but I wanted that to be his choice. So even if you're in a situation right now where you're like, okay, but my spouse tells me that they're a lifer at what they're doing, they're never going to leave, they're never going to get out, you work your business as if that's the opposite. Because Adam told me he was going to be a lifer. He was never getting out. That was his brotherhood. And things dramatically changed for him overnight when 2 of those teammates were gone. So you never know. You don't know what life's going to hand you, but you have to have skin in the game every single day. And for me, that was working 2 time zones, like Greg said. I lived in Japan. So when people tell me, oh, I'm sorry I missed our call, I had a hair appointment. I'm like, no big deal. I just woke up at 4:00 in the morning to talk to you, but it's cool. It's totally fine. But you have to know my coaching style. I clearly didn't say that to them. I'm like, look, I woke up for you. I woke up at 4:00 in the morning. I have a 6-month-old and a 3-year-old. You need to tell me if you're wasting my time or not, because my time is valuable. I respect my time and I respect your time. And so I want to know if this is something you really want, because if you are just going to blow me off, then I'm not going to be the coach for you. There's someone else that you can find and choose. So you also have to respect yourself in this business. You can't just be a doormat for people. I know a lot of times coaches will tell me, I run free challenge groups all the time. I'm always giving things of value, but no one ever wants to invest back into me. And maybe it's because you haven't asserted your worth to them. You haven't told them that you felt that you were worth the sale of a challenge pack. And not saying it in that context, like, hey, I'm worth $32, all right? Place an order through me. But it's saying, it's having the guts to say back, when you do decide to run a challenge group where you're saying you have to buy a challenge pack to be in this specific challenge group, and they say to you, seriously, I don't have the money. Come on, just let me in. Like, can I please come in? I really need this. Like, my life's in shambles right now. If I could afford it, I would. And that's when you say back to them, anything worth doing, worth fighting for. And it's never going to be easy. I am so appreciative that you've been in my free 5-day groups or my free 7-day groups. However, this group is for people who can put that extra skin in the game. And I know that financially things may be tight right now. I know how you feel, right? The feel, felt, found. I know how you feel. I've felt that before. When I first joined Beachbody, as a coach, we were still on WIC checks. We had $35,000 of debt. I sold an old dusty treadmill and a bunch of clothes and kid stuff just so I could afford my first challenge pack. I know how you feel. And what I found when I made that, skin in the game movement where I had to sell that stuff to be able to afford a challenge pack is that I committed myself more to the program again. I committed myself to drinking Shakeology every day because it wasn't an indispensable income that I had. It wasn't something that I could just throw away. I had to work hard for that challenge pack sale. So I want you to do the same thing. And if you need help, I have a free financial Dave Ramsey challenge group that I can add you into, right? So there's always a tool that I can help them with in life. So then later, after 30 or 60 days of doing Dave Ramsey with me, now they have money. And when they have money, guess where they're probably going to invest it? When I have another challenge group, me and one of my challenge groups, because I helped them learn how to have that budget. So you have to really think outside the box of coaching. How are you showing up every single day on social media? What is your brand when someone looks at you? So when someone comes to me, my brand, what I've been known for 5 years, I'm a Dave Ramsey fanatic. I wish he was my grandpa. I told that to him when I ate lunch with him. I'm like, seriously, Dave, if you could be my grandpa, I would have you if you would take me. Like, I love him. He's so cute. Number 2, organic, non-GMO living. I'm a freak about it. People know it. I tell people I'm an extremist. I'm an extremist because I've been obsessed for 8 years. So if people want to learn about living organic and getting rid of toxins and chemicals, come to me. Number 3, I'm blunt. I am so blunt. Sometimes I'm so blunt that my mouth gets me in trouble, but I have to learn at times to have a filter. But if people like that kind of no filter attitude, or that's the kind of business coach that they want, who's going to say it is, but also have love in a way, that's me. And so those are the three things that people know when they come to me. I've actually had people tell me that their coach gave them a warning when they said, you could follow Tarah Carr, but I'll just give you a warning that if you follow some of her videos, like sometimes she will go on tangents. Like sometimes she doesn't have a filter. Sometimes she'll say some offensive things and she doesn't care, but that's who I am. So I don't want people who are going to follow me and easily be offended. I'm an Army wife. We're built tough like that. So you have to be so comfortable with who you are though. And you have to understand that you are going to have, and I hate the word haters, I hate it, but you are going to have people that dislike you for being so confident in who you are. I would get messages or I would get comments, and you just have to let that roll off your shoulder. Even my mentor, Chalene Johnson, still to this day, she still gets haters on every single one of her videos. And she'll just make it a funny thing. She'll be like, bye-bye, Johnny. Bye, Johnny. We don't have that people on here, Johnny, right? Like she talks to them like they're like a little dog or a little kid. And you laugh. But I love it because it shows me that even my mentor still to this day, who has people that don't like her. And I don't know how you could not like Chalene Johnson, right? She's hilarious. She's just super funny. And so you have to be okay with understanding that not everyone's going to like you. Last but not least, you have to be a business professional from the day that you sign up. And that was one thing looking back that I did that I didn't know I was doing. And it was mainly out of excitement. So I had business cards and I didn't plaster Beachbody all over them. I just called myself a health and wellness coach. So you have to separate yourself from the whole Team Beachbody. I love Team Beachbody just as much as you, but I don't want to just be known as a Team Beachbody coach. I want to be known as someone who is a life changer, someone who can help people in their marriages, someone who can talk to them about nutrition. I want an overall thing. So you have to really think about, like, what is my brand? Do I have business cards to give out to people? Do I have a public figure like page? You have to get over the likes. Not a bunch of people are going to like you in the beginning. I show as an example on social media with how I started that. Before Beachbody with Noah, I got 6 likes when he was born. Now, every baby is cute, right? He got 6 likes, and I was like, okay. I didn't know any different back then because I had like 100 friends on Facebook that I never talked to. And then I had Jonah, and I wasn't yet a Beachbody coach with him either, but he got 47 likes. So we were kind of moving on up there. And I became a coach, I think 4 months after I had Jonah. And then we just had Nora. She's 14 months old today. And she got like 5,600 likes or something like that when I announced that she was here. And so what's different between my kids, right? Like, is one cuter than the other? Nora will probably tell you that when she grows up, but it's not. It's that people had a story that they wanted to follow. It was our family. It wasn't just that Nora was born. It was that every picture who saw that moment with Adam holding Nora, that they knew he wasn't leaving. With Jonah, he left days after he was born and didn't see him until he was 6.5 months old. I fought for that moment with Nora, that he wouldn't have to go away, that he would be there with our kids every day. And so it wasn't just a baby being brought into this world that people were liking. They were liking the whole thing that I was fighting for, that they followed me, that they watched me fight for 5 years, that they knew that I was the crazy person that was staying up until 3 o'clock in the morning because they would see me on Facebook working 2 time zones. But people started to understand me better when they saw that, right? They started to understand me better when they saw Adam's video talking about how he is overcoming PTSD right now and how he's so thankful for Team Beachbody that he's able to work through these things every single day and not have to go to a job and have that pressure to take care of the family financially right now, because he needs to take care of himself right now. And so it's those little things that people start to understand. I get why she was so crazy. Man, I feel bad for judging her. Like, right? Like so you have to get over that. You have to get over the likes that you're not getting right now or the comments that people aren't having. But it doesn't mean that you're allowed to stop showing up because you think that, well, no one's liking my stuff anyway, so they're not going to notice if I'm gone. Couldn't be less from the truth. People are stalking you right now. Privately stalking, people are also making fun of you right now. And some of the people that are making fun of you right now will be your top people in your company. One of my top girls right now, 6-figure earners, paid off all of her student loan debt. Her name, we went to high school together. We went to one class. I wouldn't have called us friends. We were acquaintances. She said she made fun of me for 7 months behind my back, texting other girls that we went to high school with, like, oh my gosh, did you see Tara's Shakeology post again? Did you see her workout? She totally photoshopped that picture. Like, she is so annoying. Like, doesn't she know that no one cares about Beachbody? And now she's one of my top earners because Danielle realized that she couldn't get rid of her weight that she put on during college, and everything she tried just wasn't working, and she didn't have a good support system. And the friends that were making fun of me at the time with all of them, they weren't supporting the lifestyle that she wanted to go to. They were the girls drinking with her every weekend and stuffing their face with awful food. They didn't want to change, but the only person she knew of that was being public about liking the change of health and fitness was me. And so she like secretly messaged me on Facebook like, hey, could I join a challenge group? And like no one would know about it. And that wasn't even a flag to me at first, because a lot of people, they're like, could you not announce me? I just don't want my friends and family to know I'm trying this. And I never took that personally from anyone. So I just thought, oh, she just doesn't want people to know overweight. I get it. I respect that. No, it was because she didn't want all the girls that she was trash talking me to be like, oh, she joined the cult. She joined Tara. But it's kind of funny because now like 6 of them have joined her. And, you know, but it's the ripple effect. It's the ripple effect because someone has to be confident enough to continue going. And that's you. Someone has to have the thick skin to show up every day on Facebook. That was me. I had to not care. I knew people were making fun of me from my hometown. I knew people thought what I was doing was a joke. But I have the last laugh today, right? Like, I'm still doing it. I'm never going to stop. Like, it's not about the money to me. It's that I love what I do. And as long as you authentically know who you are, it does not matter what anyone else says, but you have to have the plan. You have to have it. And I remember when I was kind of like Shalene's best friend, but she didn't know we were friends yet, she talked about having a 5-year plan. And she was like, you have to know so specifically what your 5-year plan is. And I remember sitting there being like, okay, 5 years, where do I want to be in 5 years? And I just dreamed up this crazy plan. I knew I wanted to go somewhere in Columbus because Adam just loved Ohio State. That's where he went to school. So I wanted to be somewhere where I knew he would just love it if he got out of the military. And I wanted a good school for our kids. And so I found this awesome school. And I found this house, development. Like, I just found all these things. And it's where we are today. I dreamt that up 3 years ago, actually. So I was 2 years early on my 5-year plan. But that was 3 years ago that I did that. And to think back when I made that plan, we were like so much in debt. I think I was making nothing as a coach, guys. Maybe $500 if I was lucky in a month. But I had no idea what I was doing. But I knew that I had what it took to get there, because I knew it was up to me to just not quit. As long as I never quit, as long as I showed up every day, as long as I went to events and I invested in myself, and I took what I learned at these events instead of partying and just having fun. I became a hermit crab at some of these events, and I would just soak up everything I could. And then I would fly to Japan and I would put my head down and I would get to work. And so maybe I wasn't the funnest person to hang around with for 2 years because I wasn't doing what everyone else was doing around me, but I was doing it with a purpose. I had a plan. I knew where I wanted to go. I knew where I wanted our family to be. And now I work maybe 15 hours a week, Monday through Wednesday. We're able to have Adam's mother-in-law on payroll to watch Nora so I don't have to send her to daycare so I can work. Adam's able to come home every single day and be a track coach volunteering at the middle schools here. There's so many things that we can do. We're taking our team to South Africa to build homes as a missionary project because I'm like, I love retreats with you guys, but I have this calling and I want to know if you'll go with me. Will you do it? And they're like, are you crazy? Yeah. Like, what do I have to do? And I'm like, just get to team leader and you can come. Because it's not even about that to me, but I want them to grow in their business. And so you also can't get offended if Greg is telling you diamond is where your business starts or team leader is where your business starts. He's telling you that because that's what he knows from firsthand experience. When I tell my team that, it's not because I want them to be diamond for me. I'll tell the same girl that's in my first business center where I have 42 diamonds I can only get to 15 in my first ABC, capping out. There's nothing that benefits me there for them going diamond other than knowing that diamond is where their business starts. Team leader is where their business starts to thrive. It's where it starts to become a solid foundation, right? They're building wide. They're not a deck of cards when they're a team leader. And so I tell them these things, not because it's all business, business, business to me. It's that they told me they wanted to bring their husband home, or they told me that they were tired of overdrafting in their bank account and they can't feed their kids, or they can't pick up diapers, or they could only put $10 in their gas tank because they didn't have enough money to put any more. I've been there. I know all that. I come from very humble beginnings growing up. So I get it. I've seen foreclosure notices. I've lived in the dark. I get all of those moments, but I also know what gets you out of them. And so you have to set that non-negotiable goal in your business that I'm going to go diamond. I'm going to go diamond, and then next I'm going to be a team leader. It's just going to happen because I care about my business. So Greg, I know I kind of went on a little bit of a tangent, but if you would like to open it up for Q&A, I'm always willing and would love to do that. If anyone has any specific questions, or maybe you do, let me know.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. That was awesome. So if you guys are all on mute, if you want to take yourself off of mute, feel free and ask Tarah a question about, how she got to be where she is or what you can do. It's up to you.
I've got a question on
there. I am. I was like, I left and then I'm back. Did I cut out? Did you hear me say I'll do?
Yes, you cut out, but we just opened up for questions. So you're back, right?
Okay, I have a question.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, for your social media posting, you said pick 2 main social media platforms.
I don't know why it told me. Oh, you know why my Wi-Fi went unstable? Hold on a second. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Lisa.
My internet.
Okay. You said just pick 2 main platforms to focus on. Are you posting onto those 2 platforms like 2 or 3 times a day, just once a day to one, a couple times to the other, or?
Yeah. So at least one of those platforms need to be on it every day. So for me, that was Facebook.
Okay.
I would never miss a day of Facebook. I know not a lot of people now because it messes with the algorithm, but even if it was just scheduling and, making sure that something went out. But yeah, I would say at least one of those platforms, you've got to be on it every single day. And then the other one, I would say a lot of times you could repurpose content, but you don't want to be that person that's posting on your personal page, 3 seconds later, taking that same post and putting it on a like page, and then 5 minutes later, putting it on Instagram. Because people are going to unfollow you due to being annoyed of just a bunch of you being in their newsfeed all at once. So I would space it out. So I tell my coaches, if you are getting overwhelmed and paralyzed in fear of coming up with that much content to talk about, then be consistent on Facebook and posting every day. And then 2 to 3 days later, take your latest post on Facebook and repurpose it on Instagram. And then just make a system where you're doing that. You're just repurposing content. Or maybe you go on Facebook Live and you add the option for it to go to your camera reel. And then you take that video and you upload it to YouTube immediately so you don't forget. And then that way, anyone who says, hey, I remember you did a Facebook Live video about Dave Ramsey. Do you remember when that was? And it's like, oh, here's the video. It's on my YouTube channel. And so now they've gone over to a new platform where there's a bunch of other videos that they maybe didn't even know existed because they didn't see you go live at the time on Facebook. So definitely always repurposing as much as you can the same content that you've already used.
Perfect. That's what I was thinking of doing, but I just wanted to double check to make sure.
No, for sure. It's a good question. Anybody else?
I can't be the only one with questions.
I have one. What's the best way to get over your fears about talking to random people?
I think your video, your audio is kind of muffled. Maybe you could type it in the chat and Tarah can answer it. In the meantime, does anybody else have a question?
No. Can I just say I like John. I like John a lot. I like how he called you out about the ultimate reset. John's my style. I was laughing so hard when he's like, but you're not doing supplements. You're not going to get the results, Greg. You're not going to.
Just throw me under the bus.
Funny.
Thank you, John.
Sorry, Greg.
Throw you under the bus.
Sorry,
What's
Greg.
the best way? Oh, sorry, John. Go ahead.
I'm just deep down your downline. You're not my sponsor. I can do what I want.
Right?
Yep.
People who are so far removed, they're like, I'm untouchable. I'll say what I want. It says, what's the best way to get over your problems with talking to new people? So when you say get over your problems, is it anxiety that you struggle with of like, okay, I just don't even want to talk to them? Like there's just like a bunch of thoughts in your head of like, what are they going to think about me? Or what if they say no? Or is it just, you don't know how to stir up conversations with them? Because I think there's two different ways. It's both. Okay. So number one, my favorite sermon that I ever listened to from Stephen Furtick, he basically just says, get over yourself. He's like, get over yourself. You're not that important. So get over yourself. So if you go to talk to someone and they don't like you, then they don't like you. So you're not going to die. Like it's fine. And number two, like if they tell you no, again, you're not going to die. So it doesn't always, the reason why you're probably being paralyzed is because you feel like you have to talk to them about Beachbody. You don't have to talk to them about Beachbody. Start talking to them about something else. You had a bit of anxiety even asking this. Totally. I have two girls right now that they've been with me for about 2 to 3 months, and they struggle with severe anxiety. They're actually diagnosed from a doctor. They get treatment from it. They're on meds. And so it is a real thing where it can literally paralyze you. And even everyday decisions where she said, like, I'll go to the grocery store and maybe I don't want to check out because I have anxiety about going to a certain cash register over another one that's not open. And so it's those little decisions in our head of saying, you know, am I going to survive? Am I going to be okay if I go talk to this person? Or am I going to physically get harmed if I go through this register? And the answer is most often than not, no. And so for you, it would just be getting out of your comfort zone. It's going to suck. You're going to want to vomit. But my rule of life, as well as Adam's, is if we wake up every day and we don't feel like we're going to throw up when we go to do at least one thing, then I've wasted my day. Because things make me uncomfortable still to this day. Certain things don't anymore. Speaking on stage, if you guys go to my YouTube channel and watch my first video that I spoke at my first event with Beachbody, I was a 2-star diamond coach. They invited me to speak at leadership. I broke out into hives. I was shaking. I mean, I was a mess. It was awful. But I was like, you know what? I've got to do that again, because the only way I'm going to get better is if I do it again. And so I said to Sandy, I probably sucked. I'm so sorry. She's like, no, you didn't suck at all. You must have been in your own head because we thought you were great. And I'm like, okay, that's really great to hear. Can I come back? Can you put me back on somewhere? Maybe anything like a national wake-up call or anything, because I want to get better at this. I really do. And so the only way you're going to get better about it is if you start doing it. You start stirring up those conversations. Maybe you start them on Facebook because that's less anxiety for you because it's not them person to person. But really just get out of your comfort zone of talking to anyone no matter where you are. Or enter a Toastmasters class. Just do something that's going to scare you. Literally, do something that's going to scare you. That's my rule of thumb. Feel like you want to throw up. And if you don't feel like that, then you don't have skin in the game. You're too comfortable. So you have to get really uncomfortable. And when you start to get really uncomfortable, your business will just start to explode in multiple areas. So hopefully that will help. Yeah, and personal development, for sure, personal development. How did you become diamond in 21 days? That was also a mess. I didn't even understand placement. I thought you were supposed to fill in the triangles in the graphical genealogy. And so a bunch of people got put on inside legs because I didn't even know that existed. I was like, oh, I just thought I was supposed to make triangles with people. So it was mainly, like I said, having those relationships before I became a coach. I had been talking about Beachbody for a year. Everyone knew that I had lost 42 pounds in 90 days with Turbo Fire. And so I would say, going back, if I had to say why did they join me? Why did they trust me? It was because my results spoke louder than the words I was saying of join me with coaching, because I gave that my all. I did not cheat one time in 90 days. I was very strict with my portioning of my meals. I was very public about it, and I wasn't even a coach. So in people's mind who followed me, I wasn't doing it for anything to gain, but to help myself be better. And so when I said, I'm a coach now and I can help you do what I've been doing in this challenge group I'm creating, they wanted a part of that because I was showing them things that I was doing. Actions speak louder than words. And so I would say if you haven't yet picked a Beachbody program where you have just absolutely crushed it, start to finish. I know some coaches for 4 years and they've yet to do a single program start to finish. You have to do a program start to finish. You have to be public about it. You have to share those uncomfortable photos. You have to show videos of you prepping and the work that it takes to get those results. Because then when someone joins you, you have that credibility that you know what it takes because you've done it. So if I would say, honestly, that was it. It was just, they knew that I crushed my workout and I treated my business the same way that I treated my Beachbody program. I wasn't going to cheat on it. I was going to show up every day. I was going to hit Success Club every month. I went to every event from the moment I became a coach. Beachbody paid for my first event to go to, which you want to talk about uncomfortable, right? This maybe isn't something to brag about, but they were like, we can pay for one plane ticket for you. And I'm like, okay, well, my husband's deployed and I have 2 kids. I have a 4-month-old baby and a 3-year-old. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And they're like, well, do you have any friends you could leave them with? And I was like, I probably could find someone. And so we totally left Noah and Jonah with Uncle Jay, who was one of Adam's teammates, who was injured and stayed behind on that deployment because he had just had shoulder surgery. And his wife was like one of my best friends. And she was like, I'll take your kids. I've been having baby fever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm about to do this. And so I did. I left my kids for 4 days and I flew to California. And you want to talk about wanting to vomit every single day. I'd never left my kids ever in my entire life. And so that was the first event I met Danielle. She had never left her kids. And we were like rocking back and forth in the conference room together. And she was like, yeah, I've never left my kids. I want to throw up. I'm like, me too. We should be friends, right? So like, that's how we met. But it was doing something that was really uncomfortable and scary to me. And then after that, it was saying to Adam, I have to be at this next event. I know it's going to cost us $8,000. Yes, you heard me right. $8,000 because I had to fly me and the boys to Ohio first, drop them off where my mother-in-law at the time would have to ask for vacation days. And then I would have to fly to wherever Beachbody event was, go back and get my kids and then go back to Japan all by myself. I did that 32 times by myself with the kids. You want to talk about seasoned travelers? Noah and Jonah. We recently flew to Disney and someone said, your kids are the most well-behaved kids I have ever seen on an airplane before. Kudos to you. And I'm like, oh, they've done this like 32 times internationally. They are pros. Like they just know the rules by now. I give them the look and I say front and center, game's over. Like there's no talking. They know what's about to happen. So it's consistency though, right? Like they knew how to act on an airplane and what to do and where to go and custom lines because it was habit. They had done it before. And so when you start to do things that you've never done before in your business, like showing up every day or working out every day or prepping your meals or doing personal development, it becomes habit. It becomes something that you don't even realize you're doing, but you're just doing it every single day. And so if there were 3 things that I could tell you to focus on, they're the most cliche things in Beachbody. It is literally doing personal development way more than 30 minutes a day, doing your workout, finishing a program from start to finish, and drinking Shakeology every single day, and sharing that proudly with people, not doing a selfie, kissing it every day on social media, but sharing with people the benefits of why, aside from just a shake that helps you lose weight, what else is in it? And that's something we're going to talk about more at Summit. I know Greg had messaged me. I'm putting on a training at Summit that Thursday. And we're going to have Darren O'Lean come and speak for us. And he's really going to talk more so on that level of how I wish I saw Beachbody coaches sharing Shakeology and how you could be doing it too. So hopefully if you're coming to Summit, you guys will come to that because it'll be super cool and super fun. But yeah, any more questions that anybody else has?
If you could give us more information on that pre-summit
I will.
thing, that'll be awesome because
yeah, we haven't gone live with the link yet. I think it's going out on Friday, so I will shoot it over to you and then I'll let you just kind of give it to your team.
I think we have a couple hundred people from our team going to Summit, so it should
nice.
Be, yeah.
Cool.
I have a question.
Very cool. Yeah.
On the Shakeology thing, first of all, thank you. I think you're awesome. And I appreciate you being willing to talk to us. I really appreciate what you said about how you had to sell things to be able to afford your first challenge pack. And I find more often than not, when I get people to finally make the plunge and they find the money, and they'll commit to the challenge group, but then they don't give it their all. And they're like, well, I cheated today, or they won't get it all in. So then when it comes time for the Shakeology to renew, well, I just can't afford it. I did it last month and I can't afford it. And I'll break things down. I'm like, look, I know you go to Starbucks every day. How is this any different? And I'll break it down. And for lack of a better term, and I hope this doesn't offend anybody, they use the God excuse. Well, I'm not being a good steward of my money if I continue on Shakeology. And I don't know how to combat that. I'm like, well, I can't judge your heart, and that's not my place. But when I see them spending money on all this stuff that's not helping their health, like I don't know how to combat that. And it's incredibly frustrating.
For sure. So my first thing would be, we can't save everyone, right? We can have a huge thing of water, but we can't go make a horse drink it. So there are some people that no matter how much of a bomb.com coach you are, they're going to continue to suck at life. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. And so there are some people even that are the closest to me and my family, even so to speak, who will smash a bag of Doritos in front of me and I will just stare at them. I won't even say words. I just stare at them and I'm like, why? Just why? You were just complaining to me about being, diagnosed with diabetes, and you're like, why? But there's just some people that you can't help. And so that would be number one, learn on when to let go and just, sorry, you said you want it, but clearly you don't. So I'm going to find someone who does. But secondary of that, I think it would be all about the way that you approach it as a coach. And so where I say I'm a no filter kind of tough love coach, the first thing I do with either coach or customer is that we get on the phone because I need to make sure that we're going to be a good fit. And when I say a good fit, it's me setting my expectations and finding out what is it that you're wanting to get out of this? Because I'm going to tell you how much I respect my time and how much I value my time. And sure, I could run a challenge group every month if I wanted with 50 to 100 people, but I don't want to do that at this level in my business. I want to work with 5 to 10 people who really want to change. Because if I got those big numbers, a bunch of people would make it. And I would get probably more emotionally invested than I should. And I would get angry. And so I don't want to do that. I want to weed out the people who don't really want it yet. And when I have that first phone call and I say, I talk about the 5-year plan with everyone. And I have them rate their level of fitness and their health on a scale of 1 to 10. That's my most important question, is to say, where do you feel right now you're at in your life with your health and fitness on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being you are floored. You love your body. Every day that you wake up, you love the clothes that you wear. You love the way that you never get sick. You just love everything. And 1 being you despise it. You're depressed. You need help. You need something. You need to change, or you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And depending upon where they rate themselves is a reminder that I can go back to when they start to slip up. And I can say, okay, I hear you saying that you can't afford Shakeology, but I also heard you tell me just 30 days ago that you were at a number 4 on a scale of 1 to 10 of loving where you're at right now. And I want to remind you from mother to mother that you are worth fighting for. And I know as a mom, a lot of times we want to just dismiss ourselves because we don't want to spend the extra money on ourselves because we want to put our family first. And so it's easy to put ourselves last, which in my opinion is what you're doing right now. You're putting yourself last because you gave up. You gave up in 30 days. No one is going to see a change dramatically in 30 days. And so if you do this, just know that more than likely you're going to stay at a 4 and you're not going to get better. But if you give this another shot, but you actually show up every day, maybe in another 30 days, you'll be a 6. You're not going to be a 10, but you might be a 6. And so it's just setting those expectations for people on what they think they're going to be even after working 30 days with you. Because people will a lot of times want to say, like even with coaching, I just talked to a girl the other day who's one of my new coaches, and she told me she wanted to make 6 figures in 3 months. And I was like, awesome. If you do that, you're going to be Beachbody famous, because I've never heard of that happening. That would be great. I'm not trying to, put some water on your fire right now, but I'm just like, let's be realistic right now. Right. 'Cause she also make it work because she was full time. So it's like, you've got to set those expectations for people on both the business side and the coaching side. So I would say maybe asking a little bit more questions so you can keep a file of them on a Google Drive so you have something to go back to and combat that when they start kind of giving you those reasons.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Well, I respect your time, Tarah. So maybe just one more question. Does anybody else have a question?
Hey, I have a question about Dave Ramsey. You talked about him a lot.
I love him.
Is there something, I guess, does he have any personal development that's your favorite that you could recommend? Or, what kind of clicks with you that?
Oh yeah, for sure. So first and foremost, I think that his Financial Peace University, everyone in life should go through it. It's not, so to speak, personal development, but it really helped me because, like I said, I come from very humble beginnings. I also come from a divorced family, come from a lot of just messed up crap. So I had a very negative relationship when it came to money. I had a lot of walls. I had a lot of trust. It was just not a good relationship. And so the Financial Peace University really changed that for me. But his favorite personal development book that I read was about year 2 into coaching for me. It's EntreLeadership. And it is basically talking about being an entrepreneur and a leader. But if you're in a place in your business right now where you feel like, oh, I'm frustrated, I show up every day, I make trainings for them, I do this, I do that, why aren't they doing it? He talks basically about looking in the mirror. Because if your team's not doing what you want your team to do, it's a reflection of you, not them. And so that was a big eye-opener for me because that was me. I was like, I show up every day. I do calls at whatever time in the morning, and I hit Success Club, and I went Diamond, and why aren't they all doing it? It was because I wasn't leading them the way that they needed to be leaded, leaded. So that was my way of creating a system of also having them take the GEM test. As soon as they become a coach with me, after we get off the phone, they have 3 homework assignments for me. They have to take the GEM test from Dady Johnson, which I have on a Google Drive, so I just send them the link to that. They have to take the 5 love language test, so I can know how they most feel edified in life, how they feel appreciated, loved, and valued. And then number 3, they have to do what's called a brain dump. And I have them put down everything on a piece of paper that they feel that they have a strength in. Maybe they are like a ninja at getting the dishes done before bed because they've got an awesome system with their dishwasher. Like whatever it is where someone has told them, I wish I could do that, or you're really good at that, I want them to put it on paper. And I tell them minimally I want 30 things. And then they get to earn their next call with me. So if they don't do those things, we don't talk again at all. I'm not going to tell them how to find their link to their Beachbody website. I'm not going to tell them anything. I don't care if they have 6 people who want to sign up. You don't respect my time, I'm not going to answer yours when you want me, because your emergency is not my crisis. So it is give a little, take a little, give a little, take a little. And so I have them do that because that is me, for one, fully understanding who they are. So if they tell me on that test that they're a pearl, they are complete opposites of me because I'm a hard charging ruby. So that does tell me as a leader that maybe sometimes I have to dial back my hardness with them because I might make a pearl crumble. Or if they're emerald, it's not that they have anxiety about certain things. It's that they're just very analytical. They need me to explain it to them in a very ABCD order, where I'm not typically like that because I have squirrel syndrome. So the old me used to make excuses of saying, okay, well, that just sucks for them because I'm not like that. So they're gonna have to figure something out. But when I had that old mentality, that was why I was frustrated. That's why my team wasn't where I thought that they should be, because I was saying, but I'm not like that. Instead, I had to become like that. And I had to decide, am I gonna be a leader, or am I gonna be someone who's always frustrated? Because a leader is gonna find a way to adapt to every single personality that they sign up on their team. And so now it's been 3 years of me just knowing now, when I sign a ruby or an emerald or a pearl or a sapphire, I know how to coach them. But that took years of failure and learning and trial and error. So you'll learn your way through it for sure, but you also have to know who you are. So if you haven't taken that test from her, I highly recommend it, because it'll change your world. A lot of people will say, I'm totally a sapphire, I'm so fun. And then it comes back that they're like an emerald pearl. And they're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But everyone around them was like, I could have told you that you weren't a sapphire. So it's really understanding, the pros and cons that also come from being each of those GEM characteristics. But yeah, definitely EntreLeadership. It's a great book, but it's only good if you're in that place, because he doesn't really talk about a whole lot, but he ties it back to, his business and how his workplace, their family. They're not his employees. They're not the people. He's not their boss. He's their mentor, and that is his family. And so that's how my team looks at me. They call me Mama T, and that's how we are. I'm their mentor. I'm hard on them like a mother, but it's because I love them. And some days they say that they hate me, and I'm like, storm to your room and slam the door. That's okay. We'll be back tomorrow, and everything will be fine. You know, so it's like we have that kind of relationship. But yeah, I love it. Definitely recommend checking him out.
Awesome. Thank you, Tarah. And for coaches who don't know about the GEM test, we have that test in our 21-day new coach kickstart. So if you haven't done our kickstart, then shame on you. But that test is the very first post that we have you do. And I do the same thing. All my coaches that go through it, I record what their GEMs are. I have a spreadsheet so I can go back and look at that. And also I love Dave Ramsey as well. I just did his Smart Money conference. I went to that last week or the week before. It was in DC. And for personal finance, I love his Total Money Makeover, Casey. So if you want to check that one out, if you want to, get out of debt and figure out how to change your life. I haven't gone to no credit cards. Have you done that, Eric?
Yeah, well, we have business credit cards. So I'm actually going on Facebook Live after this on my own personal page. I made a post earlier today of kind of saying, how I was reverse engineering a bunch of stuff, and that if people wanted me to teach them my systems that I've created with financial stuff, that they could hop on. So if you do want to know more about that financial side, you're more than welcome to come hop on. But yeah, I will always have our mortgage, because Dave's kind of like that, where he's like, have your mortgage, but do the extra things where you pay it off earlier, but not too fast, because you can invest your money elsewhere better. But yeah, no, as of November, I'm getting rid of our last 4 cards, and they're the ones where they sucker you in. It's Best Buy, and they're like, no interest for 36 months. And I'm like, oh, that sounds nice, because we're building a house, we're getting appliances. Why not? Right. And then I was like, no, I'm not doing it. So I hate payment of anything.
I do too. I mean, I pay off all the credit cards, but I have them, so I haven't gone to the step of like chopping them up and only using debit cards. So, but I agree with everything he says. He's great. But anyway, thank you very much for coming on our call. I know we all appreciate it. I'm sure there's, twice as many people who will watch the recording. So we definitely love you and appreciate you coming on the call tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome. Have a good night, guys.
Yep.
Bye.
Thanks, Tarah. That was good.
You're welcome. Bye, John.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.